This is Greg Troutline with Maritime Reporter TV, and we're very pleased to be joined today by Carsten Lund, the CEO of SunStone Maritime Group. Carsten was recently elevated to the CEO role following the retirement of his father, company founder Niels-Erik Lund, who ran the company for 35 years. So, Carsten, to start us off, can you just give us a brief career bio? And I guess specifically and importantly, when did you realize that yours would be a career in maritime with the business founded by your father?
No, my background is actually a little bit unusual. I spent 20 years in aviation. I was in air traffic control in Copenhagen, and had never really, in my early days, thought about having a career in maritime industry. But seeing my father build the business throughout decades, and my brother going into the business in 2008, um, I went my own way and I did a little bit of finding myself, you could say. I wanted to get into an industry where I could use my decision-making capabilities, the fast-paced nature of the air traffic control, and also have the excitement of being around a lot of people every day. Then in 2021, my father had a family meeting. He called a meeting with my brother and I, asked um, basically, what do we do with the business? I'm not getting any younger. I would want to have a plan for the future. So we need to discuss, what do we do? Uh, the options that were laid out were either to sell the business, to have an external CEO come in, or to start a succession plan in which my brother and I could take over and continue the family business. And first of all, my brother and I were very, very honored just by getting the opportunity, uh, and the consideration from our father to keep the family business going and keep the company in family hands. Um, it's a decision that you cannot take lightly, and you need to really think it through. We wanted to have some time, my brother and I, to discuss how we felt, and not make any rash decisions, and not have just a quick yes or no. We were both of the opinion that either we go all in, both of us, or we don't do it at all. And after a bit of deliberation and sleeping on it for a month or so, we were both very much keen on getting going with the succession plan and carrying on our father's legacy, and the company that he has built up through 35 years this year. So 4 years ago, we slowly started planning how to do this. I had my current job at that point, and decided to put in my resignation. And in April of 2022, I was full-time in SunStone. My brother had been working for the company since he moved to Miami in 2008, had a few years doing other things, and came back in full-time as well. And since then, it has been a gradual transition. We're incredibly grateful that we've been able to have this transition where you can hand over tasks and responsibilities bit by bit. It's good for us. It's been good for our stakeholders as well. 35 years is a long time, and I think it will take time for both clients and suppliers to get used to someone else running the business. So by having this gradual transition, we've been able to slowly, well, it's been quite fast actually, because 4 years is not a long time to hand it over, but at the same time, we've been able to take over bit by bit and get the relationships going with both clients and suppliers and partners. So it's been a very exciting period of time. It's been a period of time where we have gotten to know each other a lot better, and the business as well, of course. But coming up to a formal date of transition on the CEO position here in July, it meant that we didn't really have that much changing from one day to another. My brother and I have effectively been running the business for a year now. It's been a year since Niels-Erik decided to step out of the daily operation. So effectively, we've had a year of running prior to this more official retirement from our father. So last Tuesday, when I was appointed CEO, not much changed from Monday to Tuesday because we had been leading up to it for quite a long time. So that has been great. We're very excited and very honored to be given this amount of trust and be able to carry on what our father built.
I'm sure that many watching know the Sunstone brand, but can you give us a glimpse of the company today? A behind, kind of a by the numbers look would give our viewers and our readers insights on the size and the scope of your operation.
We go back 35 years. The company was founded by Niels-Erik in 1990. So we turned 35 years on April 1st of this year. That's the Danish parent company. But the operation began as a Miami-based ship owning and managing operation. We had our offices that we still have to this day in Miami. It started out as a vision from our father to charter out cruise ships, passenger ships, and he began there with good colleagues and built up a company in Miami during the 90s that resulted in the company being the largest independent manager of passenger ships with 22 ships under management by 1998. So just within the first 8 years. Then later in 2003, we had the change of focus and a strategic decision to focus solely on expedition cruise ships. The first two expedition vessels were acquired in 2004. And by 2015, we had acquired 12 second-hand vessels. So all the ships at that time were second-hand. We also decided in 2012 to no longer be third-party managers as the company had been in the past, to focus solely on our own fleet. And then in 2017, we began the new build project with the Infinity vessels that we have in operation today. So today we're the largest tonnage provider to the expedition cruise industry. Tonnage provider meaning that we own and build and operate from a technical point of view the cruise ships, and then we charter them out on long-term charter contracts to the operators. So by being a tonnage provider, we're not a cruise line. We don't sell tickets, and we are not involved in the direct passenger operation. That we leave to the clients. But we provide all the other parts of the operation, the ship's crew, and the maintenance to make sure that the operators, our clients, can focus on what they do best, and that is the passengers themselves.
You know, I know you covered the fleet a bit in that first answer, but can you take a deeper dive into the Sunstone fleet today? How many ships are in the fleet?
We have 9 ships in the fleet today, which is a bit less than what we have had in the past. We have 5 new builds, and we have 4 older vessels from the second-hand acquisitions. What we have been focusing on over the past years is to renew our fleet and to lower the average age of the fleet. So we have been gradually retiring the older vessels that were less fuel efficient and thereby less relevant in today's market, but retaining the older vessels that are still doing very well and being very competitive. Some of them have new engines and are very fuel efficient, and others have a size where it doesn't have that big of an impact. So we have been adjusting the fleet a bit and sold one of the older vessels just a couple of months ago. We sold another one last year. So they have now been recycled and taken out of service. The average age today, if we look at it by the end of this year, will be 17 years. If we look at the average age prior to the delivery of the first new build, it was 30 at that time.
Okay.
So while we are retaining a number of vessels and gradually building more, we have successfully managed to get to almost half in the average age of the vessels, which we're very happy about. We will continue that with our future new build plans, and also have plans to retire more vessels in the coming years. So it has been an ever-changing fleet in some ways. We don't buy any ships to have them for a very short time and then sell them again, and we don't build ships to not keep them for a long time. But we have seen a few changes over the years which have impacted that average age and the fleet composition quite a lot.
Just to clarify, do you currently have ships under construction, and if so, who designed them and where are they being built?
We have one under construction, which is the Douglas Mawson, the seventh and final of the first series of new builds that we have done. The Infinity series, as mentioned, was contracted back in 2017. The first contract was signed. First ship was delivered in 2019. Then we had two in 2021. We received two in 2022, one in 2023, and now we have the last one coming up in the middle of August of this year. So it's close. It's in the water and just finished sea trials last week. So that will be the last of the series of Infinity vessels that we have been building over the past 7 years.
When you look back at the core principles, the business practices that you've learned from your father and your brother as well, I guess, what are they, and how will this company look the same, and how will it look different?
The value of relationships, the values of playing the long game, not doing anything for a quick for making a quick buck, but really playing the long game and building and nurturing relationships over decades. The company that we are taking over has clients that it has had for almost 20 years. There has been ships, all the ships that have been acquired, except for one or two, they've all been in the fleet for more than 10 years. Everything we do is really looking far into the future. We're building new ships now that have an average lifespan of more than 40 years for a cruise ship. So we cannot be only looking into next week or next month. We are looking decades ahead. And with that in mind, we are also not planning on or wanting to make any radical changes here and now. We are very proud of what our father has built and what the team has been achieving over the past years. We want to further build on that. We are not changing the direction of the company or the values of the company, and we will continue to move towards the same goals. But how we get there might change over time. My brother and I are of a different generation. We're very much alike when it comes to what we want for the company, but at the same time, we want to very much honor what has been built so far and stay true to those values and goals that have been set years ago. We see a change in the overall market we're in, where we have seen over the past years two added increase in warm water interest from warm water operators for the ships that we produce and run. So we may see a diversification in the client base, and we will stick to what type of ships we build, but might expand who we build for. So I think we will be seeing slight adjustments more so than radical changes or material changes. We've been part of the company for long enough that the strategy that is laid out as something that we all agree to in both generations. So it's more a matter of the tools we use and the way we work more so than what we work for.
You know, we kind of referenced it at the beginning. You started the company at a very interesting time because we were just on the tail end of COVID. Can you kind of give us a little insight on how that event materially changed the company?
Uh, COVID was incredibly difficult for us, and we're very happy that we are still here. We had our whole fleet laid up for 18 months, which none of us could have in any way foreseen or anticipated. I don't think prior to COVID that anybody would have thought that the cruise industry as a whole would come to a halt like that. And during that time, it was evident that good relationships and good relations to clients and suppliers were paramount in making it through. We wanted to find a way where everybody could make it through, and we're very happy that we did. It didn't change that much how we operate today. It did delay a little bit our retirement of the older ships, and as well as the new build program, because when something like that happens, you have to pull on the brake a little bit and focus on today rather than tomorrow. So we put a bit of a timeout on the long-term future projects, and instead had to look at how we make it through this crisis we were in. And now we're back in full swing with the new build program, and we're happy to be able to look at the development side of the company again and look into the future and be planning rather than firefighting, which you essentially do when you're in a crisis like that. So it was very, very, very tough for us and for our clients. And luckily that's behind us now. We don't need to see a repetition of that in anytime soon.
Where do you see opportunities to build and expand? You already mentioned a couple. And are there any plans to build new ships in the coming 1 to 2 years?
So answer the last part first. Yes, we are planning to build more. We have our next generation of new builds coming up. They're called the Boundless class. The Boundless is a little bit bigger than the Infinity, but built on the success of the Infinity. We have the same main features: the safe return support, the zero speed stabilizers, the virtual anchoring, and the very high fuel efficiency and green initiatives implemented, but in a little bit of a larger package. We have 125-meter length overall instead of 104. A little bit wider beam, but that will give us a bit more capacity from anything from 200 to 300 passengers for a regular cruise ship, or even down to 100 passengers if you want to go into a more luxury setup. We also want to do more of the Infinity class. We want to build more of the ships that we have in operation today. So we're working 2 different tracks right now, offering a variety of solutions to our clients, both the current clients and future clients. We build in series. It makes sense for us. It makes sense for the clients, but the ships will look very different. We are able to have very big flexibility or very large flexibility on the way that the ship is laid out and designed. The GAs will look different. The public spaces, all of these interior parts of the ship, even on the Infinity class that we have today, were designed in cooperation with the clients. And for the next series, we will go a bit further with that, so that not only the interior but also the exterior and the superstructure may see differences from one ship to another, even if they're built in a series. What is important to us is that everything below the waterline is the same. We're looking to build ships that are technically identical, but might look different and have very different offerings on board. So that's very exciting for us. As mentioned briefly before, we have quite a bit of interest for warm water operators. We see hotel operators moving into the cruise space in the small ship market, where you have more of an upscale product, sailing in the same areas as some of the bigger cruise ships, but with a focus on this more intimate experience. So I think the market is seeing the use cases for expedition ships being broadened. The expedition ships are very useful in polar areas because they can go into small fjords and places where the big ships cannot go. In Europe or other places, there are also a lot of more regular ports or cities that would be amazing calls for cruise ships, but where bigger cruise ships cannot go. And there we see operators being very interested in figuring out a way to use the small ships from expedition market in adventure and exploration in smaller ports and cities around Europe or Mediterranean. So that way we see a kind of a change, or at least an expansion of what we're focusing on. But the ships we're building, both the Infinity and the Boundless, they all stick to the same philosophy of having to be able to go anywhere in the world, basically. So the Boundless will be a little bit more aimed towards warm water, a bit more outdoor deck space and other features, but at the same time, it will have the Polar Class 6 and the stabilizers and anything needed for the more rough areas and crossing the Drake to go to Antarctica or being up far north in the Arctic. So even the Boundless, which will be perfect for warm water, would also be excellent in ice-filled regions. We are in the final stages of our discussions with shipyards. We have been spending the past year on narrowing down our list of potential yards, and we are now very close to being at an LOI stage for the yard. And then the plan is to have a contract ready by the end of this year. That would bring us to a delivery date around the fall of 2028 for the first vessel. And from there, we want to launch a series of vessels that would be delivered along the same lines as the Infinity vessels, where we could see another vessel come out every 6 months for a period of time. So not that far into the future.